Okay, so now g3 by Kasparov, preparing for bishop to g2, and you can see this setup is called French defense King's Indian attack. And after that, here black develops his knight to c6, bishop to g2, g6, and you can see Boris is doing the exact same thing on the king side. He wants to put his bishop on g7, and after that Kasparov develops his knight to f3, and you can see now he's preparing to castle. And after that, okay, so now a5, and you can see he wants to push a4 to grab the massive space on the queen side. But white can easily tackle this with knight to b3, attacking the weak pawn on c5. And let's suppose if black defends it with queen to b6, now comes c3, trying to stop d4 or b4 pushes. And if let's suppose c4, if he tries to attack the knight, now knight at b goes to d4, and you can see now Kasparov is targeting the knight on c6. So let's suppose if knight takes d4, knight takes d4, c takes d3, queen takes d3, and when the dust settles, you can see white successfully breaks the coordination of the queenside pawns. And now white also has a very solid grip on the center, which clearly shows that this position is slightly better for white. Okay, so in the actual game, after the move a5, here Kasparov goes for knight to f1, a classic King's Indian maneuver, also clearing the c1 to h6 diagonal for this bishop. And now Boris develops his light square bishop to a6, preparing to push b4 to blast open the queen side. But Kasparov starts the king side attack by and after that, here Kasparov develops his knight to h2. He wants to jump to g4 to launch a deadly kingside attack. And after that, h6, covering the g5 square so that white pieces can't enter. Bishop to f4, king to h7, bishop to h3, which indicates he will definitely go for king to g2, getting his king more safe. And after that, c4. Boris finally gets into the queen side, targeting the pawn on d3. So how can white continue this game? Obviously, d takes c4 doesn't make any sense due to bishop takes c4. So here the best move for white is to consider the move knight to g4, preparing for knight to f6 to rip open the black king. And if let's suppose black tries to attack this knight by h5, knight to f6 check. Bishop takes f6, e takes f6, attacking the knight, so knight to f5. But bishop takes f5, and obviously capturing with the g pawn doesn't make any sense because this will also open the black king. So that's why e takes f5. And after that, knight to g5 check, king to h8, and finally a3, trying to break the queen side tension. And you can see this position is a complete mess, but this is still winning for white due to these advanced pieces. Okay, so in the actual game, after the move c4, here Kasparov plays king to g2, which is a calm prophylactic king move. Okay, so for those who don't know the meaning of prophylactic move, it simply means a move in chess which is made to stop your opponent plan before it happens. Instead of attacking immediately, you prevent threats, improve safety, or restrict enemy pieces. Okay, so now knight to f5, a beautiful central outpost. And as you can see, he's eyeing the d4 square and creating a threat on the queen on e2 in the next move. So that's why here Kasparov decides to eliminate this knight on f5 by bishop takes f5. But guys, this is also a mistake by Kasparov, because by this he also gives up his powerful light square bishop. And now I was hoping that black will definitely grab this bishop with the e pawn, but surprisingly Boris recaptures the bishop with the g pawn, which is also, which also compromises the security of black king. And now Kasparov takes advantage of this with g4, preparing to push g5 to completely shatter black king's side. So how can black continue this game? And surprisingly, you might be shocked that here the best move for black is to continue the queen side attack with the move b3. Because let's suppose if white continue the assault with let's say g5, b takes c2, so that's why queen takes c2, knight to b4, attacking the queen. So queen to d2, and after that knight ht3, and look at this placement of the knight. I mean, that's really amazing. And if g takes h6, knight takes f4 check, queen takes f4, bishop takes h6, attacking the queen. And you can see slowly black is eliminating the active pieces of white. Okay, so now knight to g5 check, bishop takes g5, h takes g5, so that he can give a check from h4 square. But king to g7, preparing to swing the rook to the h file so that it can come through these squares. And yes, this is quite uncomfortable for black, but guys, this is the only good option left for black to save his king. But in the actual game, after the move g4, here Boris makes another mistake with f takes g4, inviting white knight to develop to an even better square. So Kasparov recaptures with the knight, and since black king is now in danger, so Boris brings his knight to e7, defending the g6 and f5 square. But guys, do you know what Kasparov played in this position? Here he finds the best move, bishop to g5, and the idea is after h takes g5, h takes g5, you can see he's now successful in opening the h file for his rook to deliver a deadly check. But guys, now you might be shocked that black can still calmly handle this position by capturing on d3. The idea is after c takes d3, knight to g6, preparing for knight to f4 fork. So obviously king to g1 doesn't make any sense, because this will also block the route of this rook. So that's why this move, which is king to g3, is now forced. But rook to h8, getting the king safe, but knight to f6 check. And if this happens, just bishop takes f6, g takes f6, king to g8, and you can see now this king is quite safe. Okay, so in the actual game, after this move, here Boris brings his rook to h8, and guys, that's a slight inaccuracy, because after knight to f6 check, now bishop takes f6 is not possible because of rook to h1 check, king to g8, and after that g takes f6. And now just take a look at this open king. I mean, no need to tell that who is going to win this game. So that's why after this move, knight to f6 check, here black is forced to bring his king further to g6, but rook to g1, rook to h1, asking for rook exchange. Here Boris goes for knight to f5, but rook takes h8, and now queen takes h8 might be the best option, which we all know, but instead Boris makes another mistake with bishop takes h8. And guys, that's a mistake, because in this position Kasparov finds another god level move. Can you guess the move? Just pause the video and try to find it by yourself. And if you find the move knight to d4, then congratulations, you are a genius. The idea is simple. He opens the diagonal for the queen so that he can give a check from h5 square with the support of the knight. And now I think you all can understand the importance of capturing with the queen and not with the bishop, because if this queen was on h8, then obviously queen to h5 check would not be possible. So guys, there are the small things that can make a huge difference in chess. Okay, so for now, obviously bishop to f6 might be the best move, because this is the only defender against the white queen check. But instead Boris makes another mistake by capturing the wrong knight on d4, allowing the white queen to give a check from h5 square. And guys, now after king to h5, here Kasparov gives a discover check by g6, king to f4, rook to e1, and you can see the king hunt begins. And here queen to g4, as you can see, will be a mate, so that's why bishop takes f6. Boris eliminates the knight, but f3, and Kasparov is now still threatening queen to g4 mate. So that's why here Boris decides to sacrifice his knight with knight takes f3. But guys, believe me, this is not going to work against Kasparov, because he just simply captures with the queen, giving a check. King to g5, queen to g3 check, king to h5, and guys, now there is a mate in 3, which even Kasparov missed. Can you find the move? Let me know in the comment. Okay, so for now Kasparov takes on e6, queen takes f6, and here Boris clenched. So in this position Boris resigned, because as you can see, this is made into incoming check, which is rook to h1, queen to h4, and rook takes h4, and that's a mate. What a game, guys. What a game by our young Garry Kasparov. Like this video and I will see you in the next one. This is your host Bison signing off. Bye bye.